Initially, it was difficult because number one, I'm a black woman.
I understand they respect you with the time, but the
Uh-huh.
beginning is really hard.
Of course, I've had soldiers who didn't want to speak in my class, or I've had officers who were quite arrogant because I guess because perhaps, you know, I was a woman. Just we don't have that many managers in place anymore because we realized that the manager, the power went through their heads.
Spaniards have improved their English from 2011 to now.
Definitely.
Do you think they're actually improving their English, the
Yes.
business people in Spain?
There's still quite a high percentage of businesses that has not helped this, but I think little by little, they will have no choice but to do that as well. Si solo pudieras contactar a familiares, ¿quién sería el primero y quién el último en tu lista?
Hello, today we are going to practice some English. How is your English level? No te has equivocado, no es un anuncio para aprender inglés. Es que hoy tenemos la entrevista en inglés. Hoy voy a entrevistar a una persona maravillosa que dirige varias academias de inglés y está haciendo una labor increíble porque a los empresarios y empresarias de España nos hace falta aprender mejor inglés. Hay personas en la vida que cuando los conoces hay como un momento en el que hay una conexión especial. Y a mí me pasó lo mismo con Stella. Entonces voy detrás de ella para que venga al podcast. Ya llevo más de un mes y por fin lo he conseguido. Stella es una mujer muy valiente. Yo no había conocido una mujer medio caribeña, medio inglesa, que tiene tantas facetas donde te sorprende porque no te lo esperas, porque a la vez que está dirigiendo academias, igual por la noche está pinchando como DJ en un evento especial, que luego al día siguiente está escribiendo un libro o más cosas que contará, con lo cual es un personaje muy interesante. Eso sí, la entrevista será en inglés, así que no te preocupes porque estará subtitulada, pero afinando el nivel de inglés un poco viene mal. Espero que lo disfrutes y voy a darle la bienvenida a mi invitada, Stella Mason. Welcome.
Thank you, Ada. Thank you so much.
It's such a pleasure to have you here.
The same is mine, yes.
Before we start to talk about your business, I always have the same question for people who stand like right there where you are. Do you have a certain percentage in your annual earnings that you actually have it specifically for digital marketing in your company?
Certainly. I think that digital marketing is extremely important. And especially if you want to portray yourself as being competitive and different, I think it's necessary. With regards to a percentage, yes, I do.
What is that percentage? Is it
Perhaps I think I would go up to maybe 20%.
20%?
Yes.
Oh, wow. If you can say it, how do you actually distribute that in different channels? What's most important?
Well, if you look at my Instagram, for example, or Facebook or whatever, you can see that we use a lot of digital contents. Even before, people were very aware of AI, etc. We've always used digital contents, and I've invested in a lot of softwares as well. For all sorts of things. So, as I said, I think for marketing to differentiate yourself from your competitors, I think it's good to have something different. Perhaps, obviously, now with the AI fully in force, and I think it's even more essential to ensure that most of our resources, our services are AI led as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Already?
I think so.
Is it you, the person who pushes this in the company, or maybe you have some CEO? How internally, who's the person that pushes this innovation?
Well, we are partners. I've got my other partners. Okay, he's also CEO. It's me really who pushes it because, as I said, I love to be different, from the rest. And I think AI, I think only smart people, if you're really smart, you'll know that AI will make you even smarter.
Hmm.
And it takes away some of the pressure from you and some of the workload. So I think it's essential to have AI in your business.
Hmm. How long have you been with STEM English, the academies of STEM English? When did you start them?
Okay, I started in 2011, more or less.
2011.
Yeah. So we
Oh, it's
started.
14 years already.
Yes.
Good. So tell me a little bit about the challenges because in 2011, maybe there weren't so many academies, but now you have a lot of competition.
Exactly. When we started, there were hardly any academies around, and I remember one of my friends saying to me, um, you should open an academy because we don't speak sorry, we don't speak English in Spain. And I said, well, I just moved from England and I had a lot of experience with training. And previously I worked as a teacher as well. And so it came in handy. So
Hmm.
I started then, okay, as a small business. And that's how it that's how it grew, really.
You didn't know it would grow this way. You
No,
wanted just one academy, right?
yeah, I know there were lots of possibilities because, as I said, there were not many academies around. Okay, so then um, we realized there was a demand in the market, especially for speaking, because Spanish people didn't speak at the time when I got there. You know, Spanish people didn't speak a lot of English, but what they wanted to do is have their children to learn. So lots of the older generation, I think the first language was um, foreign language was French. You know,
Okay.
yeah, and so they didn't learn English. And so they sent their students to me, their
The
children to me.
children.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as I said, when we started, there was hardly anything like conversational Spanish. It was more like your traditional conversational English. It
Hmm.
was more your traditional method of just writing down, like the old school,
Yeah, I know.
etc.
When you mention traditional method, in my mind comes essentials. Do you remember the
Yeah,
essential?
exactly. Exactly. And the repetitive way of learning and the rote way of learning. But when we came in, we made it more enjoyable,
Mhm.
more practical. So some of my students, as a matter of fact, started in about 2012 with the military. Some of my students were quite, old. When I say old, they spent a lot of time with me. But they needed English for their jobs. And so we
Right.
started quite small,
Okay,
you
so
know.
step back. So you open the academy, and 1 year later, you start a new line of business,
Yeah.
just with the military,
Yes,
because they need their people to have better English for their
exactly.
jobs.
For exactly. Because they get deployed to different places around the world and they go to Iraq, Afghanistan,
Hmm.
places in Europe, etc. And to get promoted as well, they need to have English.
Okay.
So they are not able to be promoted unless they have English
So do
level.
they get to you because you had the academy, or how do you get there?
Yeah, well, as a matter of fact, we visited a general
Uh-huh.
from we got an appointment with him, from the naval part
Mm-hmm.
of the army. And when he met us, he liked us. I mean, it was me and my ex-partner. And he said, I missed opportunities because I haven't spoken English. And so I'm going to introduce you to someone in the military base in Rabasa.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he made a call at that time. He made a call, you know, in that instant, he made a call and he said, look, I've got some people here that I'd like you to meet. So he
Mm-hmm.
made an appointment for us. And that's how we got into the military,
It's a good entry.
the special forces. And so I have been teaching the military personally for the last 17 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've seen a lot of my students start at low level, like sergeants and, captain, and they've gone up to be lieutenant colonel and generals,
And you feel so
etc.
proud of them.
I do because, yeah, it's like me, I'm the mom.
Exactly. Is it the same method? Because it's not the same. In STEM English, you probably have some method for the kids to learn. And then in the military, they need other. How do
Exactly.
you decide that? Or you decide that?
Yes, I decide. Well, the military, they need specific English. They need specific English, and they need exam English. So you have SLP, okay, and the NATO levels, SLP 1, 2, 3, 4, similar to, it's based on this common European framework levels, which is A1, A2, if B1, B2, C1, C2. So they need to have up to level 4, which is a C2 level. Okay. And most of them don't get to level 4, but most of the majority gets to level 3. Okay. It's good for their promotion as well. And because they travel around the world and they go to American bases, they need to have English because they need to communicate with the soldiers, the allies there, and also you get lots of other military forces, at the American base. So they need to communicate with them effectively. They go to meetings, they give instructions, you know, and so forth. So it's very essential for them to have a high level of English. So we prepare that part. Not only that, um, the exam part, we also do the deployment part where it's very technical, and we actually have not many people or academies or individuals that we know have exposure to that because it's very specialist.
It's very specific.
So we've actually had to develop all the contents for that because we have to teach them technical vocabulary. For example, how to these unload a weapon, and how to upload the weapon, to load the weapon, and how to do medivac, casivac, very technical stuff, and we have to learn it. So we have specialist teachers who have to learn these things so that we can teach
Right.
them in English. Because over the years, with the Trump administration and everything that's taken place, their roles have changed as well. So when they go to places like Afghanistan or Iraq, they have to teach the local soldiers how to perform their jobs. So then they have to teach them in English.
In English, yes.
So they're not only soldiers, and when they go abroad, when they get deployed abroad, they take on different roles as well. So we've got to teach them how to communicate with other, associates that they have there, other officers that they have there. And in addition to that, how to communicate and give instruction as trainers, as teachers. So we
Exactly.
teach them to be teachers and teach their jobs, teach whatever they have to teach to the local soldiers.
I see. So it actually escapes the original purpose and does other things as well,
Yes.
because you're also helping them in other areas.
Yes.
Now, on a more human level, I would like to ask, working with people with such positions in the military, being a woman, have you, I don't know how to say this, but have you felt like you have challenges with them? Like, because they give orders, but
Of
you have to
course.
give the orders in this
Yes,
case because
yes.
you're the teacher and they
Yeah.
have to follow. Is it difficult for them?
Initially, it was difficult because number one, I'm a black woman, okay, and
It's better that you say it. I didn't say
yeah,
it.
I'm a black woman, yes, okay, and I don't think that a lot of them had any contact,
Huh.
with black people. I mean, they get deployed and they take a different position. They give the orders, but as you said, in the classroom, I was responsible, and I've never had a black teacher. And to be honest with you, I have a little mini joke to give because one of the lieutenant colonels, we got on really well, and every time after work we had the academy, so he came with his children and stuff like that. And his daughter was really taken up with me because she'd never seen a brown skinned girl before. Okay, woman. She actually touched my skin. She said to her father, Daddy, this girl is brown, And so they were really taken up. But one thing about the military, being there, I feel very fortunate to be there. And they really respect me because they've realized, and it's gone through from one generation because I've been there for 17 years, right? And because of how effective our teachings are, because as I said, when we first arrived there wasn't I don't know if I mentioned that before, but there wasn't any materials to teach them. There was a NATO manual,
It's like starting from zero.
Exactly. There was a NATO manual, and to be honest with you, it was that thick. And to teach them, it would have taken us 1 or 2 years to teach them from that because it's quite complicated for them. So what we've had to do was develop our own materials, according to them, according to their needs. So now we have our specific manuals with everything that they would need.
And you've never had someone say, I don't even need this. And I understand they respect you with the time, but the beginning is really hard.
Of course, I've had soldiers who didn't want to speak in my class, or I've had officers who were quite arrogant because I guess because perhaps, you know, I was a woman, or I was giving them, instructions that they thought, okay, I know that. However, there's always some ways to go around. I remember a particular officer, he came to my class with his hand, you know, folded like in this way, and very, his body language was quite bad, not very good at all. We would put many teachers in an awkward position. However, due to my experience with HR, human resources, and I came from the UK, so I'm kind of exposed to lots of different, mannerism and behavior. So I just did a lesson on etiquette and behavior with him.
You changed what you had in mind just
Uh,
to
so that
learn
to
him.
educate him because he needed to realize that his behavior meant something. That certain actions of what you do, like with your
Communicate.
eyes, your hands, your body language, communicates 1,000 words, and that's what we did. And so it was essential for him because not only was it essential for me to communicate with him. However, it was also essential that when he moved to another country or when he got deployed, the same thing would have happened. He could not have been like that in a meeting or in front of
No
his
negotiation.
peers, with an attitude like that. So he changed and he became my best friend.
It happens. I was thinking about that. Sometimes that the people that are more reluctant to accept you, then they start respecting and loving you more.
Exactly. Here, they all have a lot of respect for me. And one of my biggest assignment was the general 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I coached and mentored one of a very, outstanding general who was taking a post in, I think, Belgium. I think, yeah, Belgium, one of the NATO head office there, and he was heading 7 nations. So I had 10 teachers coaching and mentoring him
Wow.
for his post.
Challenge.
Hopefully now he's back in Madrid and he's perhaps awaiting a promotion to be like the second in command. So his position is really high.
And you had to coordinate the 10 teachers.
Exactly. So I had to coordinate his position and etc. So it was very interesting and it was a difficult position to be in. However, I had to ensure that, everything was in place, that he was coached well, and we carried out our duties and so forth. And he was extremely happy, with us at the end.
The ending. So meanwhile, you have your academy. So you're running your business. And then you have another academy. And then you have another academy.
Yes.
And then you're running this other line of your business. At some point, at any point in time, maybe you think you drop something or you feel confident continuing with both of them.
And to be honest with you, I've always said to my staff, and I was told that before, especially when I worked in the UK, that you've always got to cover your back. So I've always, whatever I do, I try to do it to my best. I don't have any bad intentions, or no, nor would I want any harm to happen to anyone. So I always felt good about what I do, and I'm passionate about what I do. So to feel that is as if I have left anything undone or perhaps regretted that I didn't do anything well, I don't really have that,
Because you were doing uh, everything you knew you had to do at
Yes,
the time.
yes.
But it's difficult actually to have both of them running at the same time.
Of course, you have to.
Maybe you trusted in people for one of them.
Yeah, exactly. So there are times when I have, you know, fully invested in individuals, and they have let me down. And sometimes you never understand why they've done that. But there's no guilt on my part
Mm-hmm.
because I felt as if I have done everything that I should have had and could have done. Okay. And perhaps, I should have been more vigilant. So we've had lots of disappointments. I think because we were growing, as I said, when we started in Alicante, there were not many academies, and then you find people, some people who you trusted, and they were your second hand,
Mm-hmm.
and then behind it all, they're plotting against you, to take business away from you and do it all behind your back. And you think, why? If you really wanted to do something, you should have just told me, look, I would like to do this, just to let you know, or we can work together, or how can you help me? But to go all behind your back. And it's happened to quite a few people that we've had to add a clause in our contracts.
Right, that's what I wanted to ask. So after this, because this is something it happens, you cannot avoid it,
Yeah.
especially if you open all these lines. But once it happens, you learn. And how do you apply the changes? What kind of changes, prevention do you have now?
Well, obviously, we don't get, well, me personally, I respect all the teachers and I love my teachers. And with regards to our managers, we don't have that many managers in place anymore because we realized that the power went through their heads.
Oh, you changed the structure.
Yeah. And especially after the pandemic. Yeah.
Hmm.
So we realized that power went through their heads. So now the teachers, instead of dealing with a manager, I have a sub assistant director and she's fantastic. But apart from that, it's only the two of us who manages the academy and my CEO as well. Because then if the teachers has a problem, they would come directly to me,
Hmm.
and so I would solve the problem. We've had some managers in place and they've, made abusive remarks to staff, and they think that they're in a power position and no one can touch them. So we decided against that now. you know
Isn't that a lot of workload for you?
well, it is, but I
Sometimes
think,
you sleep, sometimes you don't.
well, I don't get much sleep, but that's okay. You only have one life to live.
Yes, you want to live it fully.
Exactly. No, that's fine. I mean, obviously, like everything else, sometimes the workloads get on top of you, especially if you have to do extra tasks that you are not, you know, you didn't make time, that you didn't think that you would have had.
Hmm.
Okay. So you didn't expect to have these tasks. But however, we are able to get through all of that.
Hmm.
Whatever comes our way, we get through it and, just take every day, step at a time. And so that's it.
Is it difficult to run a business with a partner instead of having everything, all decisions depending on you?
It's better to run a business with a partner. It
Yeah.
all depends on the business, shall I
Mhm.
say. Because my partner, for example, I mean, we don't let my partner, he is responsible for the financial side of it.
Okay, because
Okay,
you're very different in the roles you
exactly.
assume.
And I'm responsible for the more strategic side of teaching, the programs, the involvement of the um, evolution of our teachers and our students as well. And I'm responsible for that. So I'm quite happy to do that. Let my partner do the rest.
Numbers for you.
Yeah,
Do you think the Spaniards have improved their English from 2011 to now?
definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, we have 15-year-olds. I mean, you can see a big difference between um the way they've evolved
Hmm.
to the way they are now. I mean, you get more Spaniards speaking English for one. They're more confident about themselves, and that's what they were lacking. Okay. And you see the young people as well have more of a level of English than ever before. For
That's true.
example, I have students in my academy who are 15-year-olds and who are teachers. They're actually qualified teachers. And they're 15-year-old, 16-year-old, and they have level C2, which is
Hmm.
the highest level. Okay. And so when they hit that wall, then they need to do something else to maintain their level. So they become teachers. And it's amazing. And, you can have proper conversation with kids 8 years old, 9 years old, and they feel so confident to talk to you. And that is the joy of it, to see the students communicating and not having any fear.
Yeah.
And lots of parents have said to me that when they travel with their kids, they're the ones who speak in English.
It's
They're
the
the one
kids
who
who speak in
communicate
English.
on
Yeah.
their behalf. So that's fantastic.
Yes, but there's something you have to think about there. Kids are not worried about what the other is thinking about you. Then when we're more shy sometimes when we are 30 than when we are 8.
Exactly.
So what happens is, oh, wait a minute, I don't know how to express this very well, so I don't say it
Yes.
when you're 30. And what about people who have businesses? I mean, I interview here business people,
Uh-huh.
and it's okay. They don't have to export and maybe talk foreign languages, but I think they do need it just to read the news, what happens in the world. You never know, have
Yes.
another opinion. Do you think they're actually improving their English, the
Yes.
business people in Spain?
I think they are improving, but I think that sometimes, as adults, we are quite lazy sometimes.
Hmm.
It takes a toll on us to just get up and do, or try at least to learn something because we're quite relaxed in our comfort zone. So
Comfort zone. Yeah, we stick
yeah,
to the comfort zone.
exactly. However, businesses they do need English, and we are encouraging that. And little by little, we see more businesses involved in ensuring that their staff learn English, to communicate better. But there's still quite a high percentage of businesses that has not helped this. But I think little by little,
Hmm.
they will have no choice but to do that as well. You
Hmm.
know, and we encourage the businesses to. I mean, some of the companies like Hacienda and people like that, they encourage their staff to learn English and to go through different stages. So that's fantastic for them. And you have a lot of public services they do as well, and some private companies. Yeah, but Alicante, I don't think that the percentage is as high as it could be. I think that in big cities such as Madrid
And
and
as it should be.
Barcelona, you know,
They work it more.
Barcelona, yes, they're more aware that it's necessary.
Hmm. I want to talk about one advantage that I think you have in your company, which is you have developed your own method and actually your own books at some
Yes,
point,
yes,
which you write.
yeah, uh-huh,
I found it so curious because in the academies, normally they get a method from some
uh-huh,
other persons that developed it and they use it and they say it's this method because it's known. But no, you chose to have your own method.
yes.
How did that start?
Well, actually, I worked with a fantastic marketing company before, prior to the company I'm in now. And they've always said that you got to ensure that your brand reflect your objectives in a way. So it's,
Mhm.
it's very important what you want to achieve and you as a person. Yeah.
Mhm.
Our main goal was to ensure that our students had the knowledge to speak in English, but also to broaden their minds
Mhm.
um, on the outside world, because English is just not a subject, it's like
Exactly.
culture
It's the
as well.
culture behind it.
Exactly. There's a culture involved. And so that's where our brand stem from.
Mm.
Okay. I mean, our company is called STEM English, and that has a lot of meaning to it.
I didn't know it. What's the meaning?
Yeah, so basically it's the abbreviation of STEM is special training English methods.
All right.
However, the stem of a tree, you have the stem,
Mhm.
la rama,
La rama,
la rama,
el tronco,
la tronco of the
mhm,
tree. That's what hold
el
everything
tronco
together,
stem.
you know. And then that is what. And if you look at STEM again on the biological scientific side of it, it's regenerative, you know, and it stems for renewal,
Mhm.
of cells, etc. So all of that under one branch, like the tree that you have here.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what we represent. So it's like opening the minds of our students and giving them the opportunity to learn and explore new ways of growing in English as well. So that's why we have such a wide range of services that we give. We send our students abroad to study, to England. We train and our students through STEM, our little ones from 3 year olds to 16-year olds. Yeah, we use the STEM method. It's like science, technology, English, maths, theater, arts,
How cool.
and so forth.
They touch a little bit of everything in real
Exactly,
life.
in class. So then it makes them more familiar with all that aspect. And STEM is becoming a worldwide movement, a worldwide trend as well, where lots of schools are introducing STEM into the curriculum.
That's cool.
Yeah. So then we are already ahead of that in terms of lots of academies. We don't just do the typical English class. We also do projects, experiments, theater, arts, cooking, everything
Hmm.
to ensure the students learn English not in a rote way, but in a more of a, you know,
Yeah, you
way.
said it is very broad because a culture, the language,
Mhm.
is based on the culture, and you
Exactly.
can't understand the culture if you don't touch all these this touch points that you have when you travel somewhere.
Yes.
Actually,
Yes.
I think we had this conversation when we spoke last time because now with the AI, especially, it will be easier and easier to just have your earphones or your phone and it translates you simultaneously, so people will be like, so why do I need to know the language? I just solve it here. But it's not the same because you can translate the word but you don't translate the meaning.
Exactly.
So that's actually, I understand the method. That's what the force it has inside.
Yes. And it's a way of, I mean, the STEM method is a way of stimulating the students as well, our students and our adults. So it's very important to do that. And with AI, you mentioned AI. I think that it's AI has been introduced to lots of our students as well. You know, so then it's essential. I think that, as I said, we actually have introduced AI into our classrooms.
How do you introduce it? Maybe to speed the learning.
Exactly. So we've introduced with our teachers, we've encouraged our teachers to use AI
Mhm.
and for lesson planning, for example, lesson planning, so forth. And for our students, we have introduced it with regards to ensuring that they don't have to be reliable on to rely on the teachers all the time for all the information. For example, if they're doing an essay, they could find the topic, the vocabulary related to the topic, from AI.
Mm-hmm.
Teacher does not have to tell them that.
Okay.
So I think that it's important so that we realize that AI gives us an advantage and makes our students smarter. So it helps us achieve their goals
Mm-hmm.
quicker. Yeah. Oh, and in addition to that, I think that with AI as well. I mean, we've had classes of students pass the exams just using AI.
Really?
Yep, we've because Cambridge has a platform, obviously, and the kids practice the writing. And initially, I said, "Oh my gosh," but the teacher, because the kids love it, so they practice the writing on the platform, AI platform.
Yeah.
AI corrects the writing,
Mm.
and so they're quite happy about that. So they're learning in a fun way.
And don't the teachers feel the pressure that maybe this will substitute them?
We've spoken about that actually. I spoke to the military guys about it. I introduced them to a new app, and they said, "Well, this app is awesome, and aren't you scared that it's going to replace you?" And I said,
I see.
"Well,
Yeah.
perhaps maybe in the next 5 years, not now. However, you still need a human touch
Mm.
as well for exams, for preparation of different aspects, and perhaps it may replace parts of our job, which might not be which might not be a bad thing. However,
If you can sleep some more.
exactly. However, we need to be learning and evolving together with AI
With
as
technology.
well
Mm.
to ensure that we are also competitive and that we don't see AI as competition, but AI as a complement.
Companion. Mm. I see. Talking about competition, there are a lot of academies. There are a
Yeah.
lot of special methods, magic methods around, and they have been there for a long time. But I'm not sure if their promises sometimes are exaggerated. Have you heard?
Yeah.
Maybe you don't have to say from whom, but promises that are not really achievable as they say it in their announcements.
I think so because lots of academies, the directors, I shouldn't say that, but the directors perhaps are Spanish.
Hmm.
Yeah. That's not bad. That's a good thing. However, sometimes some of the directors are not in touch with the people as much, with the students as much. And so they only operate at a director level,
Okay.
but they don't go down to the floor level with the students and the teachers. So they don't get involved as much. And I think to run an academy, you need to be involved. You need to know what's happening in your academy. You need to know what's happening with your students. You need to talk to them. And I have had experience with directors who, as I said, and I know some academies who operate like that. They don't have they promise something, but then you have teachers who just go to the academy and they give them a book and they said, okay, just get on with it. And
Right.
so I know academies like that. Whereas, my teachers know that I am there for them every step of the way, that I wouldn't give them an instruction if I don't know it myself. Or I
Hmm.
wouldn't tell them teach a class if I don't know how to teach a class, or I wouldn't get my hands dirty if, you know,
Yeah, I
and so
understand.
forth. So I'm very much involved with this, with the teachers. I'm there all the time. I teach. They know that I teach, and the teachers has a lot of respect for me. Now I think if it was on the it was if it was the other way, on the flip side, if I wasn't that involved, I don't think I'd get the respect from my teachers that much.
Of course, that's another thing, of
Yeah.
course, derivate. Yeah. What's the fastest way for a foreigner to learn English, you think?
I think that we are quite fast. Okay, according to the CEFR, looking at some of our intensive courses, because some of the intensive courses, according to the CFR, as a guideline, should be about 200 hours, but we can do a course in 40 hours
Isn't
or
it that
less.
the faster you learn it, the faster you
You forget?
forget about it?
No, no, no. Because then the thing is, even if it all depends on what you need the course for.
Hmm.
Yeah, sometimes you need it for interviews, or you need it to change jobs, for exams, for Erasmus, for everything. Okay, but what we try to do is change the mindsets of our students as well. Okay, we don't just teach them and say, okay, you've got an objective, you've got to learn, and that's it. No, we try to educate them and say, look, you have to to enjoy English and to learn it well. You've got to see it as a cultural thing. You've got to imagine English as your second language,
Yeah,
you know, and
interiorizing.
everything that you know in your first language, you've got to learn it in English to communicate. I know it's easier said than done,
Yeah, but in 40 hours, you cannot do that. In
but in 14,
200, I'm not
yeah.
sure.
But then we have a lot of success
Mhm.
in 40 hours.
How do
So,
you measure that success?
well, the exams, for
The
example,
exams, okay.
most of the students who come for an intensive, they do exams.
Hmm.
Or lots of the students who come for an intensive, maybe they have a job interview, etc., and they're fine. I mean, they're able to get through that and obtain the interviews. We've had students that we've sent to Australia and different parts of the world, and coach and train. But we are not just teachers, we are coaches and mentors. So that's different to just teaching, a student to do something. We coach them and we try to open their minds,
Hmm.
and we try to teach them in a different way so that they absorb the information better and see it more as a second opportunity
Yeah, yeah, I
than
understand.
just a subject.
Yeah, it goes far more than just an English teacher, of course.
Exactly.
Of course. Returning to the military, I believe that with the years it has changed. Now you have more and more students there. Is there a new milestone that you're checking out there?
With the military, I think that um, although we've taught English to the military for the last 17 years, but they've always done it in a rush.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And so what we'd like to do is have them to change that way of thinking and perhaps dedicate more to learning English. So that for me would be a milestone to achieve, so that they are able to achieve a long term, you know, objective in English, not just
Mm-hmm.
short terms and short
As for
assignments.
this mission, this assignment, I
Yes,
did
and that's
this.
the big thing about the military is that because they're quite busy, they're not able to sacrifice or to commit most of their time for English. However, it's necessary because then sometimes we are under pressure quite a lot, because we get a call saying, okay, you need to teach 4 months of English intensive,
Hmm.
and we get students who are A1 level or A2 level, and we've got to take them to B1, B2
Wow.
in quite a short time. But I think that able to, you know, if they're able to sacrifice their time and come with us, at an earlier stage, I think that we could avoid that rush.
Mhm.
In addition to that, the second milestone that I have, so that's one of the things, because the military are quite an important client of ours. So we would like to see everybody there bilingual if we could, if we had the opportunity, right? but there's so much we can do. However, the second milestone I've had, would like is to have more of a youth presence online as well,
Mm.
maybe a more of a global presence. Yeah, we've got a, yeah, we've got students online in Spain, etc. And so we would like to encourage students to work more online.
Okay.
You know, and
That's a
especially,
that's a good challenge.
yeah,
That's actually I was thinking, and now you have your method, and now you have the experience, and haven't you thought about exporting your idea maybe because you personally and your teachers here cannot
yeah,
be in other places at the same time.
exactly,
So, but military bases, you have a lot of them
exactly.
that maybe need that method. And now that you have the proof that it works, you can export it. That's like expanding somehow that line of business, right?
Exactly.
Have you thought about it?
Definitely, we are looking into that at the moment. You know, we are talking to different military bases and seeing if we could, teach them
Mm-hmm.
English. And since we've had lots of materials developed already,
Mm-hmm.
then they can see the proof that we have a
Exactly.
good reference. We have references from the generals, etc., of our work. So I think that it's a matter of time and persuasiveness from us as well to because as I said, they're quite busy with deployment, etc., and other assignments. So then we're in the pipeline to, as of now, we're in the pipeline of some, military bases to ensure
Okay.
that to see if we can teach them English.
So I'm actually looking forward to seeing you on TV with the parade, the military parade, like an important person with the king.
17 years we've been teaching them. Oh my gosh, it's quite a lot.
It's quite a lot of time. Yeah, yeah, a lot of time. But if you had to choose, you like more working with the kids or the military?
Honestly, my job, I mean, I have teachers who prefer working in the military than kids, obviously, because their skills are more suited. They're business guys. Some of my
Mm.
teachers, business professionals, and they prefer teaching the military. However, both aspects of it I really enjoy. I wouldn't say that I prefer the kids to the military. I must say the student that I've taught or I teach at the moment because I go to the base every week teaching the military. Okay. And so the students that I teach and I have taught, they have impressed me somehow because their knowledge is more, they are so open to what's happening in the world. And so, our topic of conversation is very, more based on politics sometimes. Or, and
Nice. It's
yeah,
broad.
it's amazing that my teachers as well has commented, about these facts as well. However, when I'm with the children, I become a child. I take my shoes off and then so, because the kids don't judge you. They are with you and they just love being with you and they love expressing themselves. So yeah, I wouldn't compare one to the next.
Mhm.
I love both. Yes, because I've taught all levels and all ages. So whoever I teach, I enjoy teaching because teaching is my passion.
Yeah, it's a
So I
passion.
have
I
no
understand.
favorites. I have no particular.
I
You know,
understand. I understand. What now mothers and fathers have this obsession with their kids. If they could with 1 year old, they would start 1 year old and with the English, I mean. What do you think about that? Is there any like perfect time when a child should start to learn English?
well, from a Montessori point of view, because I'm a Montessori teacher.
Mhm.
Yeah. Some of my methods are based on Montessori teachings. Yeah. So one of my previous job was a Montessori teacher, and we've taken a lot of that teachings and integrated into our curriculum as well. I think that according to the Montessori way of teaching or learning, you can actually teach a child from the time they're in your stomach.
Mm.
So you speak English to them, you speak to them, and when they're born, then you continue speaking English to them. But the only thing I have to say, I have to advise parents is that what you shouldn't do with children is mix the language. So child can learn up to how many languages? 10 languages
Mhm.
if they have separate teachings or from different people because the child cannot mix the language. So for example, my son has been here since he's been 4 years old. He's lived in Spain and he has now acquired his nationality, which is fantastic. And so he's bilingual. My son is bilingual. My son speaks
Spanish, English, perfect.
perfect English, perfect Spanish. But the only thing is that I only spoke English to my son, never mixed it with Spanish. And the same as my husband. My husband only speaks Spanish to my son.
Is that because it confuses the child?
Exactly, it confuses them. So I've had in when I taught in the Montessori schools in the past, I've had kids at 5 years old who spoke five languages, five languages, and it's a proof
Really?
that the kids, if you mix the language, they get confused. But if you have like the grandmother, the father speaking, you speak Russian, and the child speaks and the cousin speaks German
Mm-hmm.
and French and so forth, so the child can pick up as many languages possible. And lots of parents don't know that, but that is the fact that kids learn that way.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
interesting. I spoke in uh, since the beginning in Albanian with my child, and he was speaking in Spanish. And I understand if we would have lived in an English-speaking country, he would have spoken English as
Exactly.
well. I just find it sometimes that if it's stressful for a child, imagine they're 3 or 4 years old and they start to learn English with 3 years old, they don't have to feel like it's an obligation.
No, no. As I said, if you have your husband speaks one language, you speak one language with the child, and then the grandmother speaks another language, and
That's a natural way.
yeah, it's a natural
I
thing.
understand.
And the child picks it up. It's if you try to speak two languages, then the child think,
Mm.
their minds get confused.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's not the right way to do it. So yeah.
Stella, returning to the business, some mistake that you remember, you regret that you wouldn't have done it that way, and you learn from it?
Uh-huh. Because I think that, as I said in the past, I think that perhaps maybe not having too many managers in my business. In addition to that, perhaps I should have gone online earlier, because before the pandemic, I mean,
Mhm.
we were online, and we encourage our students to go online. But you understand the personality, the mentality in Spain is that they prefer the traditional way of learning.
They do.
So we have the classroom, the Morton brick
Hmm.
classroom, and so forth. But if I had a choice, perhaps I would have started being online earlier. I think that although we have the opportunity, it's never too late to do anything. I think that we could have had the opportunity of having more students online, or have a bigger business, for example,
Hmm.
because then you tap into the global market. So far,
Exactly. You're not
so
limited, geographically limited anymore.
exactly. So that is one of my regrets. But it's never too late to, fix that.
Mhm. And you're talking about having the online courses, not only about your communication online,
Exactly.
but also to having
Online.
the.
A full-fledged academy
Mhm.
online.
It's much more scalable as well.
Exactly. Exactly.
So you're starting that now.
Yeah, we're starting to tap into the global market even more so. I'm talking to different individuals and see how we can do that.
Mhm.
So that's an option for us.
Okay, so and now ending the conversation, I wouldn't miss this point about you being a DJ.
Oh,
So
yes.
tell me about that. Is that another passion that you have?
Yeah.
You've always had it?
Okay, so I'm a DJ, a part-time DJ, professional DJ actually, and an author, So with regards to my DJ part, I love music. Music runs in our family. My father was a worldwide, not worldwide, he was a countrywide singer because I was born in the Caribbean.
Mhm.
Actually, I was born in the little island of St. Lucia, but I'm British, but born in the island of St. Lucia. And so
Which
my
must be
father,
beautiful.
yes, my father, he's now passed away, um, was a
Singer.
countrywide singer in Santa Lucia, and all my brothers and my sisters are all singers and musicians as well. Yeah,
Really?
so I am not a musician. No, I used to sing when I was a little girl, but not anymore. But music is in my soul. So the DJ part for me is a way to relax. When you said to me, I work all the time, I don't sleep. Okay, I love music. I have music in my car. I listen to different type of genres. I love the music. So on the weekends, my husband is a part of the motor club as well. And so I'm a resident DJ there. Okay,
Mm.
and I've played in lots of national wide events and so forth. And one of the way, because my Spanish is not fantastic, yeah, my Spanish is not great. So one of the ways of keeping me relaxed and not feeling too bad about my Spanish not entering into conversations with people, right, for an extensive amount of time.
All right,
Was
I
to
see.
DJ.
Yes, it's hiding a little bit.
Yes. I actually got it, and now I have my mixed deck and so forth, and I'm professional in what I do, and I
Mm.
get paid sometimes, for the little work that I do. So it's entertaining and enriching for me because I enjoy it, and it's fulfilling.
Actually, it's a job where you observe a lot of people because you're mixing, but you're watching. So it's a kind of a relationship, but different.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it's like when you're a DJ, you become a celebrity because everybody wants to take photos with you
Yeah,
and so forth, and so forth.
cool.
But it's cool. And another passion of mine, is writing. I
Right.
write apart from writing military books, well, educational books. I also write, um, books for travel books for children.
Travel books for children.
Yeah,
How did that start?
because my students always ask me about the Caribbean. They haven't even heard of it, Caribbean and other countries. So one way of doing it was to my son is the main character in books. Okay, and he travels to lots of countries. In the Caribbean, and there's a lot of
Right.
history to be discovered. Like Napoleon Bonaparte, his wife was from Martinica, and George Washington stayed in Barbados, and stuff
Mm,
like that. So lots of students and adults, they don't even know about those countries. You
of
know,
course. So
yeah,
you're teaching through storytelling.
exactly. And it's educational, and there's lots of things to be discovered in the book. Like one of the books I wrote about Martinique has the Google map in there, and it takes you directly, the Google interactive map.
Mm-hmm.
It
Okay.
takes them directly. You scan the
You
QR
scan from the
code,
view.
and it takes them directly to all the different places mentioned in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And so forth. So, and they learn about the natural, the local cuisine and the cooking and the culture of the Caribbean people and the things that they celebrate, the places and so
Very
forth.
interesting.
So that's what I do as well, and that's a passion for me.
And it actually mixes with teaching.
Exactly,
It's
and
writing.
learning and teaching and education. So
Now AI can help you do it faster.
exactly, and that's what I do.
Oh, okay, my last question is surprise
Oh
question.
my
Okay,
goodness.
and it's in Spanish. You have to read Spanish.
Oh
Now,
my gosh.
we'll hear your accent in Spanish. It's surprise. You can choose not to answer this if you don't like it and let it to the other person who will come from the each of you. Or you choose. You have to read it.
So, si solo
¿Pudieras?
pudieras contactar a familiares,
Mm-hmm.
¿quién sería el primero y quién el último en tu lista?
Mm-hmm.
So it means that if you can
Only.
contact people that you're familiar with
Mm,
or family.
no, your family.
My
From
family.
your family.
Okay. Who will be the first and who will be the last on the list?
Exactly. Do you want to answer it?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Okay.
Well, say my sister, actually, my sister, she worked with me. I mean, my sister, I'm not talking about my CEO because my CEO, my partner is still, very, we are, he's my husband.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But my sister, to be, honest and so forth, my sister worked with me for quite a while and she did a fantastic job. One of my elder sisters, and she's now in the Caribbean looking after my mum.
You
Okay.
still choose
I
her
would choose
first.
her because she's very dedicated, and
Compromise.
she was very compromised and passionate about her job here with me in the
Oh, the
academy.
last one?
Yeah. And the last one, I would say that's a very difficult question to answer. But I'm quite, although I try to be, I come across as being, you know, funny sometimes, maybe, or maybe not. But I'm quite professional. I'm quite strict with the people that I have around me, you know, and I need people to be dedicated. And perhaps I've had family members, although they are good family members, when it comes to personal relationship, but when it comes to business wise, they're not the best.
Hmm.
So maybe, maybe another sister I have, she'd be a good company for me on a personal basis, funny and so forth. But as a business, associate, no.
Okay, we'll not show the podcast in your country, okay? just in case you don't have family problems.
She's good
I
at
don't
making
want to be responsible.
she's good at making me laugh and so forth when it comes to, business, I think that she'd been too casual about it.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes, that's a person. Well,
Okay.
great. You've been so sincere. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time,
Thank you to you as well.
for everything you explained. You have to sign a lemon for me.
Oh my
So
goodness.
Couldn't be good if you've never been bad. You couldn't keep cool if you've never gone mad. You couldn't be glum if you've never been glad. And lemons give you lemons.